Dub9 says, bottom line, as a white teen in the Midwest, he was the reason I wanted to be black.
Happy Friday, welcome to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. My name is Kaylee.
My name is Desi.
If you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on post notifications. Before we get into this case, we always encourage those who have useful information to any unsolved case, please report it to your local police and sheriff department.
I am a hard person to love, but when I love really hard, said Tupac. Tupac is arguably one of the most greatest rappers, and like him or not, he changed the world for the better. Over 27 years ago, Tupac was fatally shot in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. Regardless, Tupac left a legacy behind, and many will never forget Tupac.
Tupac Amura the Second was born on June 16, 1971 in Brooklyn, New York. Leslie Parish Cooks is his original name. But when he was only 1 year old, his mother, Keffe Shakur, she's also known as Nee Alice Faye Williams, renamed him after Tupac Shakur II. Tupac II is a Peruvian revolutionary. He moved around a lot at a very young age. In 1986, he moved to Baltimore, Maryland, where he would attend the elite school of Baltimore School for Arts. Before he graduated, his family upped and moved again to Marin City, California.
Unfortunately, Tupac joined gang members and started selling drugs on the streets. In many of his songs, you can see most of his music's material came from being on the streets. In 1990, he joined the Digital Underground, an Oakland City-based rap group. The Humpty Dance, one of the group's songs, reached a top 40 Billboard award. In 1991, he performed on 2 Digital Underground albums.
Tupac not only was a rapper genius, he also appeared on an urban crime drama film called Juice in 1992. As Tupac's career was taken off, many people criticized his gangsta lifestyle. In 1994, Tupac was accused of sexual assault. In 1995, he was incarcerated after the release of his third album, Me Against the World. 8 months later, he was released on parole. He signed with Suge Knight, Death Row Records for his next release. In 1996, his album All Eyes on Me reached #1 on the Billboard charts. He sold over 5 million copies, which is crazy. And Tupac would later on return to Hollywood to star in 2 more films, Bullet in 1996 and Gridlocked in 1997.
So on the night that the shooting happened, on September 7th, 1996, Tupac attended prize fight with infamous Mike Tyson at MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas Strip. Tupac hopped in his car with Suge Knight when a white Cadillac with 2 or 3 men pulled up beside them. Shots fired, most of the bullets hitting the passenger side where Tupac was. Whoever was shooting was intending on murdering Tupac, of course. At least 13 or 14 shots had to have been fired. Tupac would immediately be rushed to the hospital, and he unfortunately died 6 days later. This was the end of Tupac Shakur.
Chris Carroll was the first person to respond to the shooting incident. He says, quote unquote, "And then I saw his face. In movements, all of a sudden, in the snap of a finger, he changed," Carroll said, and he went from struggling to speak, being non-cooperative, to an "I'm at peace" type of thing. Just like that, he went from fighting to "I can't do it," and when he made that transition, he looked at me. He's looking right in my eyes, and that's when I looked at him and said one more time, "Who shot you?" He looked at me. And then he took a breath to get the last words out. And he opened his mouth, and I thought I was actually going to get some cooperation. And then the words came out, "Fuck you," end quote.
The most popular suspect in this case was Orlando Anderson, and what we know is that Tupac did get into a fight with Orlando Anderson in the lobby before he left the casino. There has been video footage released of this fight, and Orlando was a part of the Southside Compton Crips. Many people believe this could be a reasonable motive if Orlando did kill Tupac. However, Orlando denied many of the claims and said that he respected Tupac's music. May 29, 1998, Anderson would die at Martin Luther Community Hospital in Willowbrook, California. He was shot in the chest. However, there are many people who believe Orlando was not responsible.
The next suspect is Suge Knight. So, Suge Knight was also shot on the night of the shooting, but police still believe he could be involved. People believe that Suge Knight owed Tupac over $3 million. Thus, obviously, if he killed Tupac, then he wouldn't have to pay Tupac. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Keffe Shakur, Tupac's mother, did sue Death Row Records and Knight in 1997 for mismanaging Tupac's money. Tupac intended on leaving Death Row Records. He did fire the lawyer of the company. 1 week later, Knight invited Tupac to the boxing match where he would die. What was a little bit weird about him is during the fight between Tupac and Orlando, he made a phone call. He was also very insistent on Tupac riding in the car with him. Chris Carroll does say Knight's head was gushing with blood whenever he arrived at the scene. Chris Carroll does not believe that Knight killed Tupac. In 2014, Knight was prosecuted for robbery charges. In 2015, Suge Knight was convicted of vehicular manslaughter.
A suspect is, of course, very popular, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy P. Diddy. Puff Daddy is the CEO of record label Bad Boy Records. Greg Cadding, retired LAPD detective, believes that P. Diddy did it. He got a Crips gang member named Keith Davis to confess on tape that Puff Daddy gave him $1 million to kill Tupac and Suge Knight. He also confessed that Orlando Anderson was the one who shot Tupac. Davis claims he was in the car the night of the incident. He says, quote-unquote, Orlando rolled down the window and popped him. If they would have drove on my side, I would have popped him, end quote. Davis thinks possibly the motive is that P. Diddy thought Suge would pop him first. He included Tupac in the killing because he was pissed off because Tupac's song hit him up.
Many people were just straight up jealous of Tupac.
Yeah, he was very successful.
He was. Prior to Tupac's death, Tupac had been attacked at Quad Recording Studios back on November 30th, 1994. Tupac mentioned that he suspected that the people associated with Puff Daddy were involved. In 2011, Dexter Isaac claims that Puff Daddy hired him to rob Tupac back in November 1994. Puff Daddy states, quote-unquote, this story is pure fiction and completely ridiculous, end quote. Now, the last theory, which is way out there, totally wild, and honestly, I don't really believe in this theory, but it's that the Jewish Defense League did it. So the Jewish Defense League is an extremist pro-Israel group. FBI does have files of alleged threats written by the JDL, and the FBI has classified them as a terrorist group. But again, there's not enough information for this theory. Unlike all the other theories, there are some possible motives and possible evidence, but with this one, you're just going based off of death threats.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately. But as far as for the murder weapon, apparently the producers of A&E found a police document discussing the murder weapon, which you can find their videos on YouTube. One of them is called Who Killed Tupac? Mystery Confession Letter. Police Detective T. Brennan, who found the murder weapon during Biggie Smalls' investigation, mentions a gun found in Corey Edwards' girlfriend's backyard. The A&E interview with Corey Edwards also supports that Anderson was searching for Tupac on the night of his murder. Corey Edwards also thinks the gun just magically showed up, which is highly doubtful because guns just don't appear out of nowhere. You have to buy them.
No, they don't fall out of the sky.
No, they don't. This gun has been described as a .40 caliber Glock, and it fired the exact same way Tupac's murder weapon did. And the document also states that this is Tupac's murder weapon, but the Compton police don't want to share this with the Las Vegas police for whatever weird reason.
Right.
Who knows? They're sus. I almost said shush. They're sus.
Definitely like, sus for not like sharing like that information. They also didn't want Tupac's brother to know like either like any of his family, which is really messed up.
Yeah, very messed up.
So now on to Reddit comments. So the first Reddit thread is RIP Tupac Shakur fatally shot in Las Vegas 16 years ago today, September 7th. And this was posted 11 years ago. It was posted by You Eat More Fiber, and they said Tupac Shakur was shot in Las Vegas, Nevada on the night of September 7th, 1996. On the afternoon of September 13, 1996, Shakur died of internal bleeding. As of 2010, he sold over 75 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists in the world. Rolling Stone magazine named him the 86th greatest artist of all time. He was only 25. Silver Missile says, "The fuck? I just saw him at Coachella this year."
Actress OK says, to quote Chris Rock, Tupac was gunned down on the Las Vegas Strip after a Mike Tyson fight. How many witnesses do you need before you arrest somebody? Crap I draw at work. Says, I was in Vegas for a wedding and the Tyson Seldom fight with my family the day this happened. I remember there being a lot of police around. Oh my god, the fucking comment just went away!
It just went abracadabra.
There it goes. I remember there being a lot of police around, but this was really before the internet was so ubiquitous. I didn't know what had happened until I got home and watched MTV News. This fact made me slightly popular at school for a week.
That's
Damn.
Great. Barry 2 Droid said, man's been dead for over a decade, still releasing albums.
Facts.
I mean, Juice WRLD is also dead, and they're still releasing a bunch of his
music. Nebo the Monk says, I still remember the day this happened. I was walking through the halls of my middle school and people had ripped Tupac and such signs posted all over their lockers. Being the socially awkward and unpopular kid I was, I had no idea who it was. I asked a kid what grade this Tupac was in. I assumed he was one of the Sudanese immigrants around the school.
Silk and Sarcasm says, only the good rappers are dead. Only the good ones. Biggie dead. Tupac dead. Vanilla Ice still alive.
Yeah.
And then Ice Cream Sandwich says, hey, I won't hear a bad word about Mr. Ice.
The Scarlet Pimpernel? I don't know. I came across a book of poetry that he wrote when he was 19 in a charity shop the other day. I was staggered to see how tender some of the lyrics were, how innocent. A lot changed between then and his death. I'm not a huge fan of rap as a whole, but Tupac is one of the people I will always have time for. He produced some brilliant imagery. It's great. He had some good music. I'm sure he would have come out with some banging hits for sure. Like nowadays, yes.
Yeah, he would have been so popular now.
Yeah, I mean, like, even he still is, even with him being dead. And his music's still great, too.
It is.
Ace Boogie, 86 the greatest, and that was the moment Rolling Stone lost all credibility for me.
I'm not a huge fan of Rolling Stone.
Deleted. For me, it was when they ranked Kurt Cobain as the 11th best guitarist or something like that. Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Deleted says, Thug Life. This, and the T stands for the, H stands for hate, then you, so the hate you give little infants fucks everyone.
Smitwith says Shakur's body was cremated and some of his ashes were later mixed with marijuana and smoked by members of the Outlaws.
What in the world?
Oh, wow. Okay.
DMV born, DMV race, I like that name. Tupac truthers equals annoying as fuck. What? And this, he says, Orlando Anderson and the Southside Crips killed Tupac, period. I mean, fuck, not even an hour before Tupac is stomping on dude's face in the casino. Then he's shot and killed outside. It's pretty fucking obvious what happened. The whole Suge Knight thing is some, look at me, I'm witty and in the know conspiracy theory bullshit. That said, it is indeed very likely that Suge had something to do with Biggie's murder. There's actually a crazy thing called evidence on that.
Yep. Facts.
And then local Mexican says, quotation marks, hey, when I'm driving the car Tupac is in, as he sits next to me, I want you to pull up and open fire with an automatic weapon. I'm sure I won't get fatally shot myself. It'll work out just fine. End quote. Suge Knight. GTFO here with that.
Yep, for sure.
So the next one is posted by Betty the Boot. How was Tupac perceived? At the peak of Pac's parentheses alive career, how did the world view him? I'm just curious. So this is what Deleted says. I'm not going to read it all because it's a lot. They say, I can tell you how it was on the West Coast. He was bigger than rap. In the hood, people loved him and you could hear his music slapping everywhere. Tupac would show up at house parties in the hood all over the Bay Area. Parentheses, probably did that all over, but I can only speak for the Bay. And just kick it and party with people he'd hang out with in some rough ass hoods in the Bay and just chill with everyone. That got him a lot of love and respect in the hood.
Dub9 says, bottom line, as a white teen in the Midwest, he was the reason I wanted to be black. Well, I remember stealing several of his albums from Sam Goody or whatever, because I wasn't old enough to buy it and my mom would have never ever bought it for me. Almost always it became community property. My Me Against the World cassette literally wore out. I remember vividly the first time I heard All Eyes on Me riding in the back of some girl's car. I was only 13, blaring Wonder Why They Call You Bitch, and being amazed he could just say that. Everything he did was so impressive to me, and we all hated Biggie just because he did. It took me probably 10 years to come back around to actually listening and loving Biggie. That's crazy though.
That is crazy.
This white man wanted to be black.
Okay, I found one. Splendor78. I was in high school in Idaho when he died. We didn't have MTV and the internet really only existed at the library. No one I knew had it at home, so we only knew Pac through his music and we fucking loved him. We would go to the record store and just buy CDs based on how they looked because unless you heard someone on the radio, you didn't know what it was. Most of the time this turned out horribly, but one day one of my friends bought Tupacalypse Now and I bought Rage Against the Machine S/T. We listened to the shit out of those CDs.
Deleted said, I was only 6 when Pac died, but my uncle had All Eyes on Me on cassette. When you bump it in his car. I remember when Tupac died and my uncle cried and said it was the death of a legend.
It was.
Was though. It really was so sad. _MF_Mike. He was becoming bigger than rap. He was a huge star. At that time he was starting to be cast in many movies. Regardless of his real life antics or whether you liked him as a person, he was headed for greatness. From a hip-hop perspective, even folks on the East Coast that might not have openly liked him due to the beef respected him and could not deny his music. Which is true.
Yep, so true. So this last post is by Sanctify. Does anyone here think Tupac is actually alive? Sha_Babu says, though I don't think he's alive, I think his death is really, really strange and definitely was a part of something bigger that isn't known to the general public. I really wouldn't find it hard to believe if the government had a part to play. Because out of all artists who talked shit about being targeted by the government, for Tupac, it was real. Or if Suge Knight was behind it as a form of vengeance since Tupac said he was leaving. I doubt we'll ever really know what happened then.
King Shiznit said the question shouldn't be if he's alive. The real question should be who killed him. The man was under FBI surveillance, not constant, but enough surveillance that one would think the FBI would have a couple leads as to who killed him. This one's deleted. My common sense says no, but it does seem a bit ironic that a rapper who studied Machiavelli just so happened to die sort of mysteriously. No indisputable evidence of who killed him, and is believed by so many to have faked his death. Time to put your tinfoil hats on.
Yeah, if you guys want to comment below who you think killed him, we would like to know.
Ooh, this comment though. Yeah, not many people know, but at the time, Tupac and Biggie were secret lovers, and obviously due to the homophobia associated with hip-hop, they knew they'd be killed if they didn't actually make a move. That's wild.
That is wild.
To think about that, it's possible. It could be possible.
It is possible. They could have been two little rapper lovers.
Rapper lovers? What the fuck? Yeah, they are. This person said he was at the basketball the other week. Duh.
Right.
Totally. Yeah. That's how it works, right?
Deleted says, "Goddamn reptilians." That's how it reminds me about that one lady who freaked out on the plane.
It's not real back there.
Yeah, there was a shapeshifter. What if she was a shapeshifter?
Bro, I love the memes that transpired after that, because it was like, when I lose my vape, like that lady goes to ape shit or whatever. Oh my god, that was so funny.
That is funny.
I'd rather die like a man than live like a coward, Tupac says. The death of Tupac still hits his family and the music community hard. While Tupac did not have an easy life, he continued to put out lyrics that spoke to people. Although Tupac is not here with us today, his music still lives on. We hope one day his family gets the justice they deserve. Thank you for listening to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More, and remember to always keep your eyes open because Tupac's legacy is still here.